Alright guys, it's your boy here, Kevy Vidal, and I've got a 2011 FG Falcon Turbo, which I'm going to be attempting to change the slave cylinder on my manual, my 6-speed manual, as the clutch is on the floor, can't change any gears, all the oil's leaked out, so the slave cylinder, which is inside the gearbox, has shut itself and it's just leaking. Should have leaked all the oil. And I'm going to be doing it by myself, so this video is basically doing this job on your own. Don't have any help, single-handed. I've got the car jacked up. It's on stands at the front where the bricks is safety. At the back here I've just got it on bricks. I've got some four-wheel drive stands back there, but obviously because the car can't move, I couldn't get it up on the ramp, so I had to I've got it on some bricks here. I feel like that should be pretty safe enough, yeah. So first things first, I'm going to do what I need to do here in the engine bay. What I've done is I've taken the radiator fan off for a particular reason. I'll explain later in the video why I've done that. And also in here, I've disconnected the terminal. And in here, there's a little clip, just where my finger is here. It's like a little clip that you take out with a flathead screwdriver. It's like an old school window winder clip. Just be careful because that's going to fly off. Either try and catch it, or you're going to have to try and find it if you lose it. And that's all you have to do in the engine bay. Alright, so I've got all the, so I drained the oil. I've got the tail shaft out, the exhaust is off. Now, so what we're going to do now is just we're going to unbolt the 8 bolts. I'm going to separate it, not from the end of the bell housing, but I'm going to separate it from just the one behind it. There's 8 15 mil bolts that go around. There's 3 plugs. It's a bit hard to see, I'm sorry. There's 3 plugs. This one's the exhaust. There's another one here, and there's one on the other side as well. And once I've got all them out, we'll go to the next stage. But for now, I'm just going to rip out these 8 15 mils, unplug these 3 plugs. There's one vacuum hose just here, and that should be it. All right, so I've got six of the 8 bolts out that are holding the box on. So what I'm doing now is I've secured. I'm going to leave this cross member that holds the gearbox cross member mount that holds this on. I'm going to leave that on, and what I've done is I've put the jack, and I've slotted the jack little leg, if you can see it, perfectly in here, so it kind of locks in, so it can't slip out, you know what I mean? The wire, there's a wire up here that you unplug, and it's bolted on by a 15 bolt back here. It's actually easier to just undo the 15 mil bolt instead of trying to fucking take out the plastic lug that holds the wiring on, because it's really difficult to get it out. So I found it just, I'm gonna lower, and the last 2 bolts, so I've got 6 of the 8 main bolts out. Those last 2 bolts are 2 up against the floor, so you have to lower. I'm going to tilt the gearbox down to easily get those last 2 out and get this one out, so I can get that final wiring out, and then we should just about be ready to slide the gearbox back. Alright, so I've now got all the bolts out. You can see that I've got that wiring out the way. I've got that wiring out the way, and this one vacuum line, so you can sort of just get that out the way there. I've got the last 2 bolts out that sits right up there on near the floor. And so now I'm ready to jack this down, but I've got one more little trick, right? It's an old school trick from EO and AU Falcons. What I've done is I've left this one. I've got 2 bolts left, but they're loose for the gearbox, right? I've just left them a bit loose, just in case it falls down. It's not going to come too far. Then when I know it's ready to come out, once I've split it and I know it's coming out, I can rip these 2 out. So what I'm going to do now remember, because I'm by myself, I'm doing this by myself, this is a good little trick. So I'm going to get another jack now, so I can hold the front up. But first, I'll get up the top again, and I'll show you this trick. Right, so at the top here, down here on the crankshaft, this is an old EL Falcon trick, because what's going to happen is, when I here's the drive line, the engine and the gearbox, right, sitting like this level in the Falcon. I've now tilted it down, so it's now angled down like this on the back of the jack. When I try and slide the gearbox out, the engine is going to want to, you know, as the weight of the box is coming off the back, the engine's going to want to come back flat again. All right, it's going to want to come back flat. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stick these under that crankshaft on that, just on the bottom of that K-frame. I'm going to put 2 blocks of wood under there, and that's going to sit there on perfectly wedged. Don't worry, you're not going to bend anything. I can guarantee you that. I've done this many times. Okay, you're not going to damage anything. Anyone that tells you that that's not a good idea is fucking full of shit. I can tell you that right now. So yep, I'm going to stick these under there, and that's going to stop. That's going to keep the engine tilted like that. Because I've got it all tilted, it's going to keep the engine tilted like that. So even when I install it, you watch how easy I get this to. I can just single-handedly put this in. All right. All right, here we go. And that's it, guys. I've now got the gearbox. The gearbox is now come apart. And just to keep getting it apart, all I've got to do is I turn the wheel on the back of this jack. I've got it set up on 2 jacks, as you can see. Right, it's perfectly balanced, and it's just sliding straight out, so easy. Don't have to bust your balls. So just turn this back. I can give it a bit of a push, and it's just going to come straight. As you can see, it's already sliding out, and that's it. Job done. There's the slave cylinder in there. That's cactus. Replace that. Put it back together. Away she goes. All right, so I took out, so I've got the part out now, so I've got the slave cylinder out. There was two 10 mils holding it in. You pop those 2 10 mils out, and you can just slide the slave cylinder off, and then you can, I'll get the other part ready now. All right, so this is the failed slave cylinder right here. And this is my brand new one. I've already fitted the piping. So I've put the piping on, that's ready to go. I've tightened that up. That's just slightly tight. Do not depress, don't play, whatever you do not play with the new part. Depressing that in and out and playing with it, you could actually bust the seals inside it. So you don't want to do that before you fucking put it in. The other important thing is, so I'm going to use this Loctite for the bolts. This is very important. These 2 bolts here, I don't know if you can see that number, but it's 9.8. Most high tensile little bolts like this are usually 8.8s, but these are a 9.8. So make sure you don't confuse those, and you definitely use those 9.8s back on the thing, and you torque them up. Because I'm by myself, I'm going to be using this. I made this. I'm going to plug this. Once I've got it all bolted back in, I'm going to plug the end of that into this grease nipple. You put a little bit of fluid at the bottom of the bottle, and that way I don't make any mess. So as I crack it, this is so, because I'm by myself, I'm going to bleed it alone, which I'll show after. So, and this is what I've made. So this little contraption I've done here, that tube goes all the way down to, it's touching the bottom. You put a little bit of fluid in, and what's going to happen is when you pump the pedal, the bubbles or the air is just going to pop out of here, and that's how I'm going to do it. Okay, so now I'm going to install the part. All right, so now I'm bleeding it. I've got the fluid. You can see it's going down. I've got my little bottle hooked up down there. It's hooked up on the nozzle, and it's sucking down, so it's taking all the air out, and I'm bleeding it by myself. Whatever you do not let this reservoir get down. Oh, I've got to fill it up. Don't let it get down to the bottom. Yeah, so obviously don't let this reservoir get down to the bottom, or you're going to get air immediately here, and you're going to have to start all over again. At the moment, I've tapped it off again. So I've disconnected you can see that the bottle's now off the nipple, and I've tightened up the nipple. Quite a lot sucked through. So I've tightened up that nipple, and now I'm going to pump the pedal and see how it feels, and just keep repeating this process until the pedal feels pretty good. And what you'll find is once you get a bit of pedal back, while you're driving, or even like if you leave it overnight, it'll actually all stabilize, and away you go. So yep, we'll carry on now. All right, so that little bleeding trick has worked. Got all the radiator back in. All my level is back to back to where it should be. It's holding. And I'm about to put the tail shaft in. Most importantly, before I put up the gearbox and everything like that, before you put all the, what I did is I just put 2 bolts in. I put 2 bolts in the box just to hold it, so just in case something happened, I didn't have all the bolts in and fucking have to undo it all again. So more importantly, it's pretty dark to see, but my clutch is back. It's fully compressing. It's all the way out. She's all fixed. So now all that's left is I put the tail shaft in, put the exhaust on, and take it for a test drive.